Emily Carter was driving alone on Highway 61 just outside a quiet town in Missouri. The clock on her dashboard glowed 11:47 p.m., and the road stretched endlessly ahead, a ribbon of asphalt swallowed by darkness. She had left St. Louis hours earlier after another exhausting shift at the hospital. As a nurse, she was used to long nights and emotional goodbyes, but tonight felt heavier than usual. Her mother's voicemail replayed in her mind, reminding her of bills overdue, a childhood home slipping closer to foreclosure, and a life that felt stuck no matter how hard Emily worked. When the tire blew, her heart dropped straight into her stomach. She gripped the steering wheel, slowing the car as sparks briefly kissed the pavement. She managed to pull over onto the shoulder, the sound of passing trucks roaring like distant thunder. The silence that followed was louder than the traffic. Emily stared at the flat tire, her phone battery blinking at 5%, no signal bars in sight. She felt small, vulnerable, and painfully alone. She tried to breathe through the panic. She had watched videos on changing a tire before, but the darkness, the cold night air, and the fear made her hands shake. As she stepped out of the car, the wind cut through her thin jacket. She popped the trunk, fumbling with the jack, whispering to herself that she could do this, that she had to do this. But after 10 minutes of struggling with a rusted lug nut, tears blurred her vision. She sank onto the edge of the trunk, hugging her knees, wondering how her life had narrowed down to this moment on the side of a forgotten road. That's when she noticed headlights slowing behind her. Her heart raced. Every warning she'd ever heard about strangers at night screamed in her head. She stood up, wiping her face, ready to lock herself in the car if needed. A pickup truck pulled over several feet behind her, hazard lights flashing. The driver's door opened slowly, and a man stepped out, keeping his distance. He looked to be in his late 40s, wearing jeans, work boots, and a worn jacket. His voice carried gently across the space between them. "Ma'am, I don't want to scare you," he said. "I just saw you pulled over. Looks like a flat. You okay?" Emily hesitated. Every instinct told her to be cautious, but something about his tone, calm, steady, respectful, softened her fear. She nodded. "I'm trying to change it, but I can't get the lug nuts loose." The man smiled kindly. "Name's Jack. I've been a mechanic most of my life. If you'd like, I can help. If not, I'll understand." She studied him for a long moment, then stepped back slightly, giving him room. "I'd appreciate it. Thank you." Jack worked efficiently, his movements confident but unhurried. As he loosened the bolts and lifted the car, Emily found herself talking about her job, her long drive, how tired she was. She didn't even realize how much she needed to talk until the words spilled out. Jack listened without interrupting, nodding occasionally, as if her worries mattered. When the spare tire was secured, Emily let out a shaky laugh of relief. "I don't know how to thank you." Jack wiped his hands on a rag. "You already did. You trusted me. That's not easy these days." Before he left, he noticed the hospital badge still clipped to her bag. "You're a nurse?" She nodded. "Yeah. Sometimes I wonder why I even keep going." Jack leaned against his truck, eyes thoughtful. "My wife was a nurse. Best person I ever knew. She passed a few years back. Cancer." He paused, then smiled softly. "She used to say helping one person at a time was enough reason to get up in the morning." Emily felt something shift inside her chest. "I think I needed to hear that." Jack handed her a card. "If you ever need car help around Jefferson City, that's my shop. No charge for tonight." As he drove away, Emily sat in her car for a long moment, staring at the card in her hand. The road didn't feel quite as dark anymore. Weeks passed, but Emily couldn't forget that night. She found herself replaying Jack's words during difficult shifts. Slowly, something changed. She smiled more at patience. She stopped measuring her life by what she lacked and started noticing the small moments of meaning she had ignored before. One rainy afternoon, she saw Jack's name again, this time on a patient chart. Her heart skipped. When she walked into the room, she recognized him instantly, lying in the hospital bed, looking smaller than she remembered. Kidney failure. No immediate family nearby. "Looks like we meet again," he said with a weak grin. Emily felt tears sting her eyes. Over the next few days, she checked on him whenever she could, making sure he wasn't alone. She brought him coffee, listened to stories about his wife, his old garage, the road trips they used to take. One evening, Jack looked at her and said, "Funny how things come full circle, huh? Guess that flat tire wasn't an accident." Jack recovered slowly, and when he was discharged, Emily walked him to the exit. "You helped me when I felt completely lost," she said. "I don't think you'll ever know how much that meant." He squeezed her hand gently. "Sometimes we're strangers for a reason. So we can help without expectations." Months later, Emily made a decision she had been afraid to make for years. She applied for a nursing program focused on community outreach, helping underserved rural areas, the same kind of road she'd broken down on that night. She realized she wanted to be the person who stopped, who stayed, who helped. On her first day in the new role, she drove past the same stretch of highway. The memory no longer filled her with fear, but with gratitude. A flat tire at night had once felt like the end of the road. Instead, it had been the beginning of a new life. And that's the truth we often forget. Sometimes, the darkest moments are not punishments, they're invitations. Invitations to trust, to connect, and to become more than we were before.